Welcome to this explainer. We're diving right into something every single one of us does literally every day. But, we rarely stop to actually think about it. Communication. But it's way more than just swapping words back and forth. It's actually a lot like a highly coordinated, beautifully complex dance. To truly master it, we've got to perfect two entirely different halves of the equation. We have the conscious, verbal steps you take, and then the subconscious, nonverbal rhythm that gives those steps their meaning. Get these two aligned, and you become an absolutely incredible communicator.
Let's be real for a second, though. We have all been there, right? Have you ever been trapped in one of those conversations just full of agonizingly awkward silences, or totally weird subject changes, or, oh man, that universal panic where you both say, oh, you go ahead, no, you go ahead at the exact same time? It's the worst. It's so frustrating, and it usually happens because someone is stepping on the other person's toes in that communication dance. Okay, let's dive into this and figure out exactly how to fix it. So here is our roadmap for today's explainer. First, we'll look at the foundations of polite chat. Then, navigating the conversation flow. After that, the power of silent signals. And finally, mastering the graceful exit.
Let's start right at the beginning with our verbal foundation. Section 1, the foundations of polite chat.
When we hear good manners, we usually think of those rigid rules our parents drilled into us as kids. But using polite language is actually a super strategic reflection of emotional intelligence. It shows respect, sets a professional tone, and basically paves the way for a cooperative exchange. And this brilliantly illustrates how the simplest words are actually your most powerful tools. I mean, words like please aren't just polite fluff. They literally make requests feel so much more courteous. Saying thank you builds instant rapport. Excuse me is the perfect way to get attention without coming off aggressive at all. And pardon me is your go-to for asking someone to repeat themselves or smoothing over a minor interruption. They're the social lubrication that keeps our chats pleasant, no matter who we're talking to. But once you've got that polite foundation down, you've got to keep the actual conversation moving. That brings us to section 2, navigating the conversation flow. This part is all about the actual mechanics of the exchange. How do we share ideas without completely running each other over? Well, think of every topic in a conversation as having its own little life cycle. It kicks off with step 1, topic nomination. This is simply introducing the subject. It's totally crucial because it grabs the listener's attention and sets the whole direction. Then, ideas naturally evolve, bringing us to step 2, topic shift. You can't just jump straight from talking about your weekend to asking about a major life crisis out of nowhere. That's going to cause major conversational whiplash. You've got to use transition signals, things like, by the way, or speaking of, to smoothly bridge those ideas. And finally, step 3, topic termination, which is how you properly wrap up a thought. We're going to look closer at that one in just a bit. But while a topic is actually actively being discussed, who gets to speak? That is the tricky art of turn-taking. Good communication is a really delicate balance. Just imagine a chat where all the rules are thrown out the window. People talking over each other, voices getting louder, anxiety spiking, and honestly, nobody is even being heard. Total chaos. Now, take a breath and compare that to effective turn-taking. You're listening attentively, you're waiting for that natural pause before jumping in, and you are definitely avoiding interruptions. When we actually follow these rules, it promotes fairness, it gets everyone participating, and it vastly improves mutual understanding. And hey, while the other person is taking their turn, you shouldn't just be sitting there frozen like a statue. You use something called back channeling. We actually all do this subconsciously. It's those quick little, aha, right, or just a supportive head nod. The absolute genius of back channeling is that it proves you're actively listening, and it actually encourages the speaker to keep going. It builds massive rapport, and you do it all without ever stilling the microphone. Though, let's be totally honest, we've probably all been guilty of throwing out a well-timed, wow, that's crazy, when we're secretly zoning out. Sometimes, though, our turn to speak isn't about bringing up a new topic at all. It's about giving feedback. And giving feedback is something that has to be handled with incredible care. If you want to build trust instead of just tearing someone down, your feedback has to stay objective. It needs to focus entirely on the ideas or the behavior, absolutely never on the person's personality. You want to use respectful language, offer really clear suggestions for how they can improve, and always make sure to acknowledge their strengths right alongside the areas they need to develop. That clears up misunderstandings and actually makes people want to keep learning. Okay, let's move to and see how this builds into the second half of our equation. Section 3, the power of silent signals. So research actually shows that a massive chunk of the emotional meaning in any face-to-face chat is conveyed without using a single spoken word. Our true feelings are constantly leaking out through nonverbal cues. Now, what's really interesting about this is that when our verbal messages and our nonverbal cues contradict each other, listeners are almost always going to believe the nonverbal cue. Just picture someone saying, "Oh, I'm so happy to be here," but their arms are tightly crossed and they have a massive scowl on their face. You're going to believe their face, right? Our bodies just reveal our true attitudes so incredibly fast. Two of the absolute most powerful silent signals you have are eye contact and gestures. But they do come with a pretty massive warning label. Intercultural sensitivity is a must. In a lot of Western cultures, holding direct eye contact shows confidence and honesty. But in several other cultures, prolonged eye contact is actually seen as deeply disrespectful. And the exact same thing goes for hand gestures. A simple thumbs up might mean awesome job around here, but it is actually highly offensive in parts of the Middle East. You absolutely have to know who you're talking to. Next up, let's talk about posture and body movement. It's fascinating how much our physical bodies give away our true emotional state. Sitting up straight but staying relaxed instantly communicates this great upward momentum. It screams confidence, professionalism, and genuine interest. Honestly, it boosts your credibility before you even say a single word. On the flip side, sinking down in your chair, slouching, crossing your arms, that drags all the energy right out of the room, suggesting you're bored or feeling defensive. And as for movement, natural gestures show great enthusiasm. But if you're pacing around excessively or fidgeting nonstop, it just becomes a huge distraction for whoever is trying to listen to you. Then, we have to consider the actual physical space between us. In the science world, this is known as proxemics, or just personal space. I mean, we all know the absolute awkwardness of dealing with a close talker at a networking event, right? Well, managing your proxemics is kind of a quiet superpower. Naturally, we keep shorter distances with our close friends, but we expect much more breathing room in professional settings. By consciously respecting someone's personal space, you avoid making them feel intruded upon. Plus, it shows this deep level of cultural and relational awareness, which puts the other person completely at ease. Finally, we have danced through the entire conversation, which brings us to Section 4, Mastering the Graceful Exit. How you end an interaction is very often the exact thing people remember most about it. So, the crucial point here is that your topic termination strategies have to be highly deliberate. Using really clear, definitive signals like, "Thank you for your time," or "It was so nice talking with you," or "Let's talk again soon," provides a clean conclusion. It officially signals that the dance is done. But more importantly, it prevents those agonizingly awkward endings. You know what I mean? The classic Midwest goodbye or that painful, slow shuffle away where neither person knows who is supposed to leave first. Mastering this just ensures you always leave a lasting, positive, and totally professional impression. We have explored so much today, from the quiet power of a simple please and the finesse of a smooth conversational transition, all the way to the heavy impact of eye contact and personal space. The truly effective communicators out there are the ones who make sure these two halves of the equation are always perfectly aligned. So I'm going to leave you with this final thought to carry with you today. The very next time you speak to someone, will your words and your body be telling the exact same story? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I absolutely cannot wait to dive into our next topic with you.